is happening, you guys? My name is Mad Hattress, and welcome to the channel. Today, we are going to be reacting to top 20 unintentionally disturbing kids characters from around the world. And go check out Blame It on George. He has a lot of great videos, and you should subscribe to him, So, anyways, we're gonna watch that. I noticed that I haven't posted a reaction video in like forever, so we're gonna kick it off with this. So, yeah. Okay. Sweet. Alright.
Have you ever tuned into your favorite show as a child and was creeped out by one specific character? And one that wasn't even supposed to be creepy? Sometimes even being the host of the show or its main characters. Well, you're not alone. Apparently tons of children's shows around the world has had these unintentionally creepy, nightmarish characters. So today, we're going to count down 20 unintentionally disturbing kids characters from around the world.
SpongeBob's house. Awesome. 20.
The Bubas from Bubas.
Oh, Bubas!
This show was a British TV program that was produced by Ragdoll Productions. The Bubas are five gumdrop-shaped creatures with big eyes and lights for eyebrows.
I thought that was cute.
Their heads are shriveled into their necks, and they awkwardly move around and fly with each other.
Cute.
The Bubas do not speak. Instead, they communicate by making noises like squeaks and cracks. Like other shows on this list, many children, and even some adults, found the Bubas to be absolutely terrifying.
Why? They're so cute!
There's just something so unsettling about the way they walk and move.
I think.
And if that weren't enough, their website could use some help, too. Distorted music along with weird flash games that won't really entertain anyone who's above the age of 3 seem to make this thing a little more terrifying than anything related to this show should be.
They're cute, I think. I don't know. I'm weird, so that tells you something.
The Puppets from The Wiggles.
Oh no!
The Wiggles was a musical group that performed on children's television from 1991 till now. While several of the cast members of the original group has either left due to physical health or old age, the original series has some pretty weird ideas about some of the side skits. For example, there was the Puppets, which was based on a popular Alvin and the Chipmunks group and TV show at the time. These horrifying things had their own unique look and style, even if their voices were pitched up in the same manner as the titular rodents. They move in rather stilted, disjointed ways, and have pretty terrible puppetry to go along with it. They always have these big, plastered smiles on their faces.
Yeah, that's why I don't like puppets,
large beady eyes that seem to stare right
in
past
Doctor Who, when they have the puppets, it creep out. I just don't like puppets in general, like those kind of puppets. Make it stop.
Really, this would feel more at home on a Chucky show rather than a children's TV show. Nonetheless, the Wiggles puppets gave kids nightmares throughout all of the 90s.
Number 18.
Fafo, from the island of Dr. Moreau.
I've never seen this show.
Fafo is an alien-born character from a fictional planet called Fafolandia. He came to Earth to form his own band called Balloon Magic with a quartet of children. Since his inception, he's grown to become quite popular amongst Brazilian children, getting to have its own program, dolls, and other licensed products.
Are you sure that's not like Chucky's cousin?
However, he's still incredibly creepy, and his features are incredibly bizarre. Most notably his strange cheeks that outgrow and sag over his skin, and his eyes that gave off an almost sinister-looking stare. His nightmarish appearance is completely unintentional, but nightmarish nonetheless.
That's so creepy. What the crap?
Satsuki Minami from Maburi TV. Maburi TV was a morning Japanese TV show involving children dancing, often with the host Satsuki Minami. She's seen in a one-piece jumpsuit that has patches on it saying some pretty vulgar things all in English. And while these two might be confusing to a Japanese audience, the third is well known because of its close translation to the word faku. There really is no reason behind her outfits, and she's even worn it in a number of episodes with little to no backlash. In one confusing episode, the children are seen wearing Nirvana shirts for, again, no real reason. She dances and helps choreograph the children with these inappropriate messages displayed on her shirts.
Oh my gosh! Holy crap!
The Flute, from HR Puff and Stuff. This bizarre children's show only ran for 2 years, with a total of just 17 episodes.
Why?
The plot involved an 11-year-old boy named Jimmy, who becomes shipwrecked and lands on a deserted island.
Damn it, Jimmy!
Him and his friend, a talking flute named Freddy, take a ride on a mysterious boat that leads them to the living island. The boat was actually being controlled by a wicked witch, who used it to lure Jimmy and Freddy to her castle. The entire show is full of strange human-sized puppets, and Freddy the Flute is the creepiest looking companion ever. He gives off an unsettling face whenever he talks or just appears on camera.
Oh.
But what's just as terrifying as Freddy the Flute is Witchy Poo, the primary antagonist of the series who's after Freddy the Flute. She rides a large rocket-powered broom and is mean to everyone around her, even her henchmen.
Kinda reminds me of the Wicked Witch of the West.
The Groke, from the Mummenschanz. The Groke is a fictional character from the Swedish show The Mummenschanz. She's a tall, ghost-like creature, and is known as the biggest threat in Mummen Valley. Cold, creepy, and with a killer stare. Everything this character touches freezes.
Well, isn't that settling?
If she stays in one spot for more than 1 hour, the ground dies, and nothing can ever grow there again. In the English dub, she's completely mute.
That's so creepy.
But in the Finland, Poland, France, and Japan dub, her voice is absolutely terrifying.
Oh no, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. What? I don't want to hear it. Oh god. Oh. You know what that reminds me of? A chimera off of the, from Full Metal Alchemist.
The Groke is considered to be one of the most intimidating characters in a children's program.
Oh my god.
However, she is also considered by others to be one of the most sympathetic and misunderstood villains. Even though she starts out portrayed as an evil and terrifying antagonist, later adaptations depict her as a lonely person who longs for warmth, light, and companionship, but is unable to because of her nature to kill things.
Sad.
She has no control over
it's
her
like
appearance
Elsa.
and her ability to freeze anything she touches.
It's like Elsa. That's sad.
Mr. Blobby from Noel's House Party.
Oh, wow.
Noel's House Party was a Saturday night TV show on the BBC. Once hailed as the most important show on the BBC by a senior corporation executive. In 2010, Noel's House Party was voted the best Saturday night TV show of all time, according to the Mirror. Despite the positive reception, one of the show's characters was negatively received, and that was Mr. Blobby. Mr. Blobby is an 8-foot, round-shaped pink figure covered in yellow spots. He communicates by saying the word Blobby in a electronically altered voice and expresses mood through the tone of his voice. Mr. Blobby would partake in pranks involving celebrities, where he would act clumsy, childish, to irritate them. Mr. Blobby was criticized for his behavior,
so it's
at
like
one
the Jar
point
Jar.
causing one little girl to cry after throwing her birthday cake onto the floor, which then caused the father to approach the stage and attack Blobby.
Ooh. I wanted to hear the voice of Blobby.
Mummenschanz, from The Muppet Show.
Oh.
On episode 124, the Mummenschanz made a guest appearance on The Muppet Show. They're an experimental group of dancers formed in Switzerland, made up of performers whose techniques include acting, puppeteering, and other forms of artistry. They mainly perform in black leotards or other minimal attire, with creative masks while remaining completely silent.
Dang.
They also made an appearance on Sesame Street, where they performed several times. One involving 2 cardboard boxes to demonstrate the idea of being sane and different.
Oh.
And another involving freely stretching out each other's masks. These concepts must have been entertaining and even fascinating to adults. But for children,
no.
It must have confused
and scared
and horrified them. These ominous pale white
Kinda reminds
masks
me of
with
the,
cold,
Guy
permanent
Fawkes
expressions are menacing. Coupled with the fact that they are surrounded by beloved Muppets makes them even more disturbing.
Well then. Oh god.
The Phone from Telechat.
What's...
Telechat is a French television show designed to be a parody of news programs, but for kids. It stars puppets of anthropomorphic animals who all act and look in very strange ways. Their movements are so sporadic that it gives off just an uncomfortable vibe, and they all look just as weird too. The cat in the suit frequently has a broken arm, and the ostrich wears lipstick and shows cleavage. But strangest of all is the phone with a face. He whispers in the anchorman's ear when he picks him up, and almost sounds like he's gasping for air, before completely changing his tone. The show itself doesn't look that bad, and it does have some more frightening moments, like this microphone with an ear attached to it. It has a permanent looking smile stuck on it, and an extremely bothersome voice.
Oh god.
Rosa! Lola! Rosa!
Well then.
More so. From Morso. There is honestly not that much information about Morso online.
What's Morso?
All we do know is that he's a character from a Finnish children's show. Some of the only available footage online is what I assume to be a scene from the show featuring a bear character stirring something, and this horrifying, nightmare-inducing, distorted clip of Morso himself. The frightening music only helps solidify Morso as a being of children's fears.
No!
And without it, he's still scary looking. Again, there's not much I could find about his character, or even what the show was about. Which ironically only
I don't want to find
the
out
creepiness.
Oh. That was freaky.
Carbuncle from Ich Mich Lorland.
Oh, I remember that.
This Netherlands show was an educational program that ran for 2 seasons in 1994.
Oh, 2
The
episodes.
series was intended to teach children how to read with a method called Learning to Read Safely. It featured a character named Carbuncle, who induced fear into every Dutch child who watched the show. In fact, the show was criticized heavily because of Carbuncle, who many parents thought was too scary for their children. Some even endured nightmares, according to a loosely translated article. After the first 20 episodes, Carbuncle was made more kid-friendly by transforming him almost entirely human. This was to inspire viewers to continue watching the series and expand on their education. And, despite the criticism, Ich Mich Lorland was a huge success. Though many Dutch children still recall the terror that was Carbuncle.
That doesn't look like scary.
Ananas from Telefrancis.
Is that a pineapple?
Telefrancis was a French children's show that ran from 1984 to 1986. The show became a popular teaching tool in Canadian and American schools to teach their students French as a second language. However, the show featured a character named Ananas, a frightening, sporadic talking pineapple who often gets into adventures with our 2 main characters.
That's so scary.
She pretty much never blinks and is usually just looking around in a dazed stare when she's not speaking. She's almost nothing like her animated counterpart, who always appears in the show's opening title sequence. There's one episode where she sings and dances in the forest with the 2 other children, Again, looking extremely
Holy
uncomfortable
crap.
and creepy.
So scary. Or 8.
Hartley Hare from Pipkins.
I think I heard that.
There was a 70s kids show in Britain called Pipkins
It's in Britain.
that ran from January 1973 to December 1981.
So.
The show starred a gang of animals such as a
Doesn't even
pig,
seem like.
a monkey named Topop, an ostrich named Octavia,
Doesn't seem scary.
and a hare named Hartley
That
Hare.
doesn't look like a hare. That looks.
He was the most daunting thing about the show. And while Hartley Hare wasn't intended to be
It
creepy,
doesn't look like a hare. It
he
looks
ended
like
up
a
being
alpaca or
downright
something.
unnerving for some
It
children.
looks so weird.
The show itself was devoid of any real humor or color, and instead focused on a depressing color scheme. In this video, Hartley talks to children about being naughty.
And today I'm going to talk to you about being naughty.
Naughty.
He
Ew.
then brings out a glove puppet and explains that you can do all sorts of things with a glove puppet.
You know, you can be naughty with a glove
What?
puppet. Can't
What?
you, Michael?
Why is that loud on the TV?
Oh, dearie me, Michael. We have been getting into lots of trouble, haven't we? Yes, still.
Pipkins was cancelled when its producers, ATV, lost its franchise for the Midlands ITV region.
Oh my god.
Interestingly, due to videotape damage and poor storage, many of the show's episodes are completely lost.
I
Out
would
of
lose them.
333 episodes, only 135 survived the test of time.
I would lose them too. I would keep them.
The giant walrus from Pingu.
Pingu! Newt Newt!
In the episode
Newt,
title,
Newt,
Pingu's
Newt,
Dream, Pingu falls
Newt,
asleep and finds himself in a
Snoot,
dream
Newt.
where his igloo home flies away, and then his bed grows legs and moves around. As bizarre as most dreams go, this one seems fine, until a giant walrus begins to stalk Pingu. The walrus slowly murmurs inaudible
Newt,
noises
Newt.
before confronting Pingu. He traps Pingu in an igloo, and then laughs some more in an uncomfortably deep tone, and must have scared the children watching at home.
I would be scared.
What's most odd is that he only appeared in this one episode. It was banned from distribution due to the walrus being frightening for many young viewers. It was also removed from British television in 2003 and was one of the few programs pulled from airing in the United States.
Wow.
P. Salty from P. Salty's Songs for Little Praisers. P. Salty is described by their website as a songbook, but not just any songbook. A songbook full of songs for children. P. Salty, in reality, is a grown man in a book costume. His face is painted blue, and it appears that he has some sort of clay prosthetic to make his cheeks more pronounced. He is often with and watching a group of kids with his trusty dog, Blooper. Blooper is another 30-something man who wears a downright creepy dog costume and is forced to act like a dog. Oftentimes, kids are petting him and treating him like an animal, which includes allowing them to lay in their laps and allowing them to pet his thighs and getting uncomfortably close to his groinal area. It really does scream stranger danger. But really, that is for you to decide. It can be described as straight to DVD and straight from hell. And rightfully so. The main cast of characters is a scary group of puppets that teaches children lessons like letters, numbers, colors, and so on. Take Ernie, for example, who likes to sing about the letter M.
It's me, Ernie. Today on Peppermint Park, we're introducing the letter M. It's
recording.
Such a great letter. It's marvelous, magnificent. I can't imagine life without the letter M.
The song is poorly written and sung by a voice that can make ears bleed.
My ear.
There's also Maynard, an old, saggy-looking puppet who sings about the color blue in this clip.
I'm so...
Is that supposed to be a song?
I said
I'm so blue over you.
I used to be yellow. Now I'm laid back and mellow.
Not only is the show incredibly obscure, but it was a ripoff of Sesame Street. It had an opening title sequence with children and puppets that gave lessons, and even a character that bears a striking resemblance to the Cookie Monster. What really makes the show unnerving is the way they move and the designs themselves. It honestly looks as though there are actors that just had their heads removed and then replaced with a creepy doll.
That's creepy.
Wisdeth from Wisdeth. This 80s show was about an alien magician known as Wisdeth, who solves puzzles and finds out as much as he can about the planet Earth. The show was mostly educational, with the solutions to the puzzles being revealed towards the end of each episode.
That's creepy.
That's all fine and whatnot, but Wisdeth's design is terrifying. It has a painfully high-pitched and disturbing childlike voice that's annoying, but evil-sounding all at the same time.
Hey, Wisbeth, have you seen what happened?
I certainly have, Wooly.
Did you just come from Puzzleopolis?
Yes, I did.
Circle Square. Is it,
Black, white, and green.
I'm gonna watch you sleep tonight.
And the puzzle game, is it,
Solve my puzzle.
White, and green.
And squidgy? Not squidgy.
I'm afraid so. He's a black, white, and gray bug now.
He's also accompanied by this tall, creepy bunny whose voice sounds muttered and delirious, unintentionally coming off as a threat. Wisbeth lives in a house that's completely void of color, with chilling music being played in the background. However, towards the end of one episode, the color palette does lighten up, but the bunny just dances for an uncomfortable amount of time while Wisbeth just stands there, pondering.
3.
Ratafak Plachta
What the
from
fuck?
Slimneko. Definitely one of the more obscure characters on this list. This horrifying puppet is from a Czechoslovakian TV show. It's pretty hard to describe him, but according to a user on Reddit, his name translates to Nosy Blankets. Anyways, in this clip, he's frolicking around and singing an insanely creepy song.
Nope.
In the show, he seems to enjoy walking around and having fun with children. That's all I could take out of it. He just looks so damn creepy and moves in such a bizarre way.
Nope.
Nobody from Sesame Street. Count to 10 with Nobody was an odd and old sketch from the early years of Sesame Street. It featured a disembodied floating set of eyes and mouth called Nobody, as he counted down from 10, with weird animations and music in the background. The scariest thing about Nobody is his eerie-sounding voice. It was so unusually calm and ominous. He almost sounded like a psychopath waiting to murder someone. Nobody originated from an early Jim Henson short film about the human subconscious. Nobody would, just like in the Sesame Street, float around and speak in his isolated whispering voice and have flashbacks about his family. Sometimes he would stutter, and other times he would smack his lips or moan and talk about his evil thoughts.
Lovely.
That's a nice thought. Isn't that beautiful? Of course, I've got some evil thoughts too. I guess everybody
How is
does.
this like?
Hey,
No,
you want to see
no.
my evil thoughts? I keep them over here.
No.
In this part of my brain.
As soon as he would mention these evil thoughts, disturbing images would flash on screen for a brief few frames.
One. No!
Mr. Nosy Bunk
No.
from Jigsaw. This character is from an 80s British TV show and was originally supposed to serve as the program's comic relief character. As the show went on, he became more the subject of fear. Episodes would often show Mr. Nosy Bunk acting out clues to the word of the week. After all, this was an educational children's show, and for a children's show, he was downright horrifying. His mask had these big, lifeless eyes that just kind of stared off into the distance.
No.
This wide and unchanging grin that displays a haunting smile, and an unusually large nose. In the show, he's always silent, and often had his nightmarish repetitive tune accompany him. Not much was really known about his character, and information was scarce until recently, when he was brought up online. Charlie Brooker, host of the BBC television series Screenwipe, describes him as a leering death mask figure who haunted his dreams and struck him as the kind who would sneak into a stranger's bedroom in the dead of night and knife you and knife you and knife you.
Wow. Oh my god. I do not like Nosy Bunks. Wow, that was, well, it's 10 o'clock and I don't think I'm going to bed, so, yeah. Be sure to subscribe to him, and, because he's really awesome and he has really cool stuff and stuff like that. And, yeah, we will continue this later. So, that's it for today, you guys. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, comment, and if you want to see me react to something, please comment. And if you want to see more, why not subscribe? So, until next time, my friends.